There are many people who, when their appliance goes wrong, never tries to repair or even examine to what has gone wrong. Hi there, I am Manish and you're watching Skillsheen. In this video, we will see how a sine wave inverter works, diagnose and repair it. This is the inverter, its battery cable, main power cable and the main output. This big transformer plays an important role and that will be telling you in a moment. So when this grid line is functioning, this relay bridges the switch between grid line to the output line, and when the grid line goes out, the relay switches over to a battery mode. From that battery, this inverter receives 12 volts. That 12 volts is DC, which means our home appliances won't work directly. To alternate that wave, the MOSFETs are used. The gate of this MOSFET is connected to the driver board. The driver board provides PWM or pulse width modulation signal to the MOSFETs. That means the voltage on the gate side varies, which outputs alternating wave on the drain side. This happens very fast. These big capacitors smooths and regulates the input DC to the source side of the MOSFET. There are two channels in this inverter. Each channel operates for 10 milliseconds, adding to 20 milliseconds for the one full sine wave. Now that the DC is transformed to modified AC, we need to smooth it out. The output is still capped at 12 volts. This is where that big transformer is used. As you might know, transformer is useless for DC current. So the inverter circuit provides the modified AC to it. This modified AC on the input side is then smoothed out by the transformer and delivers a pure sine wave 240 volt 50 Hz at the output coil. The coil count of this transformer is predetermined to perform two functions. The first one is to step up the modified AC produced by the inverter circuit, and the second function is to charge the battery. The input AC from the grid is stepped down by the same transformer and rectified by diodes in this inverter. Now let's repair this inverter. This one works on 12 volt DC input on battery side, 180 to 240 volts and 50 Hz AC on grid side, and outputs a 240 volt 50 Hz pure sine wave AC power. It's rated for 800 VA. Whenever you hear the term VA, it means apparent power. It's not the real output power. To find the real output power of inverters, just multiply the ratings or apparent ratings with 0.87. This rating changes for other machines, like for generator it's different. The real power of this inverter on calculation is 696 watt, which rounds off to 700 watt. That means you must not use it over 700 watt for longer duration. 0.87 is the efficiency factor of this inverter. As here, this is a V-Guard home inverter. V-Guard is an Indian brand and this inverter circuits vary heavily from home and industrial purpose. This is the power switch and this is the input mains wire, battery terminal cable. Now to test it, I don't have a spare battery, but I do have this power supply handy which I made in my previous video. Link to that is in the video description. I'm using it as a battery in series with this 5 ohm resistor to limit the inrush current. Connecting up everything, you can see 12 volt output from the power supply. I press the power button on this inverter and initially it shows as backup mode. After 5 seconds, it goes to this overload mode. This happens because the driver IC didn't get any feedback from this transformer. This transformer didn't get any power because MOSFETs aren't functioning and the multimeter shows 0 at this output terminal of the inverter. After unscrewing and opening the top cover, you can see this black burnt marks. This is not the transformer blown up. It's because this transformer gets very hot while functioning. So this is the burnt lacquer coat. You can see here that the capacitors are also bulged, and the capacitor near the driver card too has significantly bulged at the top. This is the driver card which drives the gate on these 8 MOSFETs. As you can see here, resistors seem to be burnt. We'll confirm that later. These are the MOSFETs which alternate the DC to the modified AC. This here is the LM7805 IC which outputs 5V DC for this driver card. This is the control card which operates and controls the input and output of this inverter, senses the temperature to activate fan, regulates the output DC to the battery, and monitors the battery voltage. As we saw earlier that pressing the power button enabled this inverter and backup LED glows. This implies that control card is okay. If you don't see any LED glowing even after pressing the button, consider replacing this control card. This is LM7805 IC as I have said earlier. Many a times due to this faulty IC, the driver card burns up, so I'll be replacing this. After a closer inspection, this is what we need. I will unpack this later. These are the 25V 6800 microfarad polarized electrolytic capacitors, a 50V 220 microfarad polarized electrolytic capacitor, P90NF03L MOSFET, LM7805 IC, and some header pins. I forgot to add these here. And you also need soldering equipments. So this is the new driver card I received from a supplier. If you are a resident of India and want this, there is a link in the description which will lead you to a page containing a Google form. Fill that and the contact details of the seller shall be provided to you. Comparing this with the old, we can see the burnt tracks and components that led to the failure of this inverter. This is the fuse. If your inverter is not detecting the battery or isn't switching on, check these. Let's now remove these huge heat sinks. As you see, these capacitors have bulged a lot. These MOSFETs are okay when I checked, but I'll be changing these as a precautionary measure. Let's see how to check a MOSFET. The first leg is gate, second is drain, and the third is source. A working MOSFET will not show continuity when pin 2 and 3 is connected with positive and negative terminal respectively. But when the gate is connected with positive and source with negative, due to the capacitance effect, when you connect back the positive terminal to the drain, you get a continuity beep. That means the MOSFET is working. After removing all the MOSFETs and IC, I even replaced these capacitors. Now I will show you how to fix the IC in a proper way. Screw this heatsink along with the IC and use heatsink compound. Then in the correct direction, insert the heatsink in the board along with the IC and then solder it. In the same manner, fix all these MOSFETs and solder them. Remember to clean the solder joints with some solvent to prevent shorting. Never attach the MOSFETs without heatsink compound. They will definitely burn up. Don't over tight these heatsinks also. It's made of aluminum and will surely cross thread if torque is applied excessively. Now that I have cleaned the dirt from this cabinet, let's fix this broken stand. I have these nylon spacers. Insert a washer inside and I'll be using this bolt and nut along with this to fasten it. Always remember to mark the driver card direction. Fix it in the wrong direction and it will surely blow up. In my case, it was towards this small feedback transformer. I have now connected it back to this 12V power supply. Pressing the power button on this inverter, we will see this backup LED glows. This time it should not go to overload protection mode, and yeah, surely it didn't go. This is a 220V LED bulb. I will connect it to the output terminal of this inverter. See to it that I haven't connected any extra source of power here and only 12V power supply to the inverter is going. Pressing the power button, LED bulb glows. Off camera, I connected it with a battery and tested the charging current and voltage, and it was working. Remember to never plug the inverter to this grid power without connecting battery. I hope this clears your doubt about repairing the sine inverter and understanding the basics. For most of the part, every inverter works on the same principle with minor changes. Thanks for watching the video. If you have any doubt, please comment it and I'll surely help you.